Jessica Alstrom, spiritual teacher, medical intuitive, and quantum integration specialist, answers your spiritual questions and assists you through understanding your personal process while providing tools and techniques to move swiftly through the journey back to light.
Hello and welcome to the Transcendence Podcast. This is your host, Jessica Alstrom, and it is September 1st. So we have made it through the big part of this year in 2016, and we are steady moving. It has been about a month since my last podcast, and that feels like forever. So I've got so much to share with you guys. Hopefully I will be able to do several podcasts in the next couple of weeks to kind of catch you all up in the moving forward of the planet and just everything that is going on collectively, and give you guys some extra tools for this speedy time process that we are in. As today is September 1st, it is the new moon, and we are going to have a little eclipse with that. And with any new moon, what it means is grand, big, new intentions. We are also in the Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury retrograde kind of gets a bad rap a lot of times because what it is actually it's just a heightened state of electromagnetic energy. And because you are electromagnetic energy and energy, you respond more. You respond more when things are going on, which means it gives you a heightened state of consciousness over these next couple of weeks, and that to me is always a good thing. Now, sometimes being conscious to a cluttered space or a cluttered life doesn't always feel good. It also accelerates manifestation, Mercury retrograde, and it really highlights where life is in alignment and out of alignment. So Mercury retrograde is a great time to work through clearing of old shadows and really making strong intentions on who you prefer to be and what you prefer to create. And so I always get kind of excited this time of year because if it's going to happen, if it's going to go wrong, if it's going to go right, it's going to occur during Mercury retrograde. A lot of times communication can get missed, and sometimes that's just a reflection for you to let you know that you have communications issues in other areas. So that's a good opportunity if you're feeling like your emails are getting lost or conversations are not being interpreted correctly. That would be a great time for you to look within about how you're communicating with yourself, because as the universe is just a big old mirror for yourself, everything that is happening outside of you is just a mere reflection of the real relationship that you're having with you. So as we move along today in the podcast, I wanted to kind of catch you up in what's been going on with transcendence and who we have become through our own personal expansion and growth, and how that affects our little micro of the macro of what's going on globally right now. As you've been following, if you have been following Second Sundays and other podcasts, I'm very open in not only my personal shadows, but our company shadows, our company expansion, our company loss, our company growth. And I think that is a good place for me to be, because being transparent is the goal. You know, being authentic is about being messy and being proud of it, being yourself and owning it. And being transparent means that we're not going to sugarcoat anything that is occurring. And one thing that I know about this particular group of transcendence is that we are not afraid of exposing our own shadows and exposing our own true desires of who we choose to be and who we choose to be tomorrow, and who we want and who we want to help. And the truth of it is we had this beautiful historical property in Kansas, and it was a great facility for me to produce Second Sundays and coach privately. And we were able to build our Brain Tap company, which is our meditation device that we use from Patrick Porter that helps people allow people to really move out of that beta reactive mind into more of their higher mind and their higher excitement, which means that the programming of the past of logic and being perfect and being on time and doing the right thing and fitting in, and this is part of your programmed human mind. And there's a higher mind waiting for your exploration. And that is what we technically use BrainTap to manually override when it comes to rebooting programs in the subconscious mind. And so we've been able to do that at the other location. And Susie and I, who own Transcendence, like I've said before, we started in 2014. We opened our doors and we were extremely humble. We were in an old building that looked horrible from the outside, and we made it beautiful on the inside. And we really had an opportunity to grow from the inside out there. We had amazing success. And the funny thing is people kept saying, what you're doing is, no one's going to come. No one's going to show up. You're not sugarcoating this. You're going in a quantum route of spirituality, and nobody's going to understand that. And exactly the opposite happened. And we just are blessed that we were able to help as many people over the last couple of years as we have. And what that's brought us to is it's brought us to another amazing transformation. And what we've done over the last couple of months is we have decided that the planet is moving into a grand collaboration, and community mindset is the ultimate way that we're going to hail this planet. And it isn't about me, it's about we. And so what we've been doing over the last several years collectively is we've been learning how to work together again. For a long time we felt alone and isolated and rejected, and that's a byproduct of us being different in the first place and being in a family and a society that didn't know how to accept us. But as we awaken, we're really moving past that paradigm, and we're moving into that state of being where we realize is that our highest excitement is really all we're supposed to be focusing on, which means that we're not supposed to be doing everything. We're supposed to be doing what we love doing, and then attract other like minds who love doing other aspects of life, and other aspects of the business, and other aspects of family, and other aspects of community that necessarily we don't enjoy, but having that collaboration of 25 people who are all living their highest joy, and their highest joy is collaborating and creating community. And so that's really what we are working to align with here at Transcendence. What we did was we closed down our retail business. We closed our wellness center doors, and we moved out of commercial property. And from the outside looking in, again, from a third dimensional perspective, someone could say, oh, wow, they just couldn't make it over there at Transcendence. But what we decided to do is we decided to get really, really honest with ourselves and decide who we were and what we were doing in our lives and how that was feeling to us, because we are the creators of our reality. And, a third dimensional successful person looks like a business owner, or, has a successful career and has the family and has the kids and has, the pets and has the 401k and all these things. And that's the ideal society's basis in success. And when we really sat down and fine-tuned our goals and dreams, we realized that what we wanted was all-inclusive. We wanted to be able to work, live, and play. And we wanted to be able to work as a team and build a legacy instead of a company. And to me, what a legacy is something that is just always working in motion, and that I may not even see the blossoms of the seeds that we are planting now. But what that looks like is it looks like a space for our children's education, to grow and develop, which we are developing a school for mindfulness for children that we can actually locate on our new property. We are developing more online academy classes for both adults and children. We are developing lots of educational videos and apps to help facilitate your growth and change very accelerated. And that has been basically what we've decided to do. Was we sat down and had a little mastermind and said, what if we found the biggest house that we could afford within the belief systems that we honor and made it into a place for us to live, work, and play in the community of like-minded, aligned individuals. And, you know, it was a little exciting and a little scary at the same time, but we said, you know, if this is what's right for us, we'll find the space. And basically within about 7 days, we found a home that really shouldn't exist where it is. It's on 2.5 acres. It's over 7,000 square feet, and it provides not only outdoor space for creation and growing and playing, but also indoor space for classrooms, both children and adults, office space, production studios, and a space to live. And so we are officially moved in as of August 3rd, 2016. And so our new home base, Transcendence Estates, we call it the place to live, work, and play. We are here, and that has been kind of why I haven't been podcasting in the last month, because moving is one of those third dimensional things that's not my highest joy. So, but it had to be done, and here we are, opened for business, and I'm sitting down doing my first podcast in the new space. And so it really is surreal as far as waking up this morning, looking out over the lake and saying, this was probably the first morning that I've ever awoken and said, my wake life feels better than a dream state. And so I really sat in gratitude about that. And it was just an amazing feeling. And as I got up and, you know, started to make my way through the day, I said, you know what, I'm going to make it my personal intention to help anyone who wants this or wants an aspect of this. I want to make it my personal intention to help accelerate your individual life, your group life, your company's life, your family's life, any way that I can. And so that's what I've decided to podcast today, is basically 10 steps to super accelerate your life. And it may be 11, because I really love the number 11, but we'll see how it goes when I start moving into the flow. And, you know, I'm sure if you are listening to this podcast, you are not new to the ideas of law of attraction or manifestation or, you know, creation. But there is so many little cheat codes and secrets behind how to navigate and design your manifestations so that you're not necessarily going through years and years of lessons before you really become a master manifester. And, you know, I've already kind of done that in the past, so I want to save you the trouble and give you all the cheat codes. And matter of fact, in my TICA Academy, which is my Transcendence International Consciousness Academy, I've decided to take the next 4 weeks in our class and teach an accelerated master manifestation intensive for the students that are part of that academy, because I've seen them accelerate so quickly on their spiritual journey. I have begun to see them open their intuition and connect with guidance. And now I really want to see them start speeding up and living a blissful day-to-day life, because it's fantastic to live in the imagination and connect in meditation and feel amazing. But how about your life become a meditation? How about the yard that you walk around in feels like a meditation, and the people sitting at your dinner table feel like a meditation? That's what I want to help create in this world, is how we can create heaven in your day-to-day life. And I feel like confidence is something that I have on this process, because I really have been creating that for myself and others for a very long time. So let's jump into it. So how do we super accelerate our lives? You know, most people who come say, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, help me. And And to me, it's never about what I can show you outside of you. It's really about turning on the light inside and showing you what you can't see about yourself, that is and where is you're holding yourself back. Because if you are creating your reality, which you are, moment by moment by moment by moment, if you do not have something that you want right now, it is because you are holding it from yourself. There is no God that's keeping it back. There's no karma that is keeping it on a loop from coming into your lives. There isn't anyone that is treating your coworker better than you. There is no one outside of you that holds a key to your manifestation except you. My job is to show you the blind spots of the aspects of the shadow that you cannot see, that you yourself are holding back. It's kind of like when you're missing something. Say you lose your keys and you're looking everywhere for them, and you're kind of getting really nervous because you're becoming late, and you're looking everywhere for these keys, and your brain starts to move into beta, which is reaction and problem solving, and you start to hyperventilate and all these things because now you're worried that you've lost the keys. That's usually the state of being that I get someone who comes for coaching. They are in that mindset, is they have lost something, or they cannot find something, or they cannot create something, and they are moving around in a space of anxiety, searching for the solution. Now, the keys are in your blind spot. They're in the place of calm, and they're in the place of solution. And so my job is to not necessarily walk over and pick up the keys and give them to you, but to get your mind out of that reactive state of being, show you the blind spots that you cannot see, which is a perfect reason why you have mirrors on your car, so that you can see the blind spots of the aspects of your car and behind your car and on the side of the car that you cannot perceive. The whole purpose of that is mirrors. And so that is what I act as a rear view and forward mirrors. So what we would do is we would move into that alignment so that you could remember where you put those keys. And so that is the whole journey of shadow work. That is the whole journey of us coaches acting as basically the blind spot. And so if we're going to accelerate our life, we cannot accelerate from a reactive state of being. We have to move into a state of being that is more of the flow, that is more in the timeline of knowing exactly who we've been, where we are going, and what we are capable of, and being very present in the moment to be grounded enough to even be able to focus our intention long enough. I had an interesting occurrence in my class last week that I really want to share with you. And I'm known to get really big on tough love in my class because I expect a lot from my students just as much as I expect a lot from myself. And I don't think that it does anybody any good to sugarcoat things at this stage in the game on our conscious journey. And so, after kind of a session of tough love and said, okay, so we're really going to be working on manifesting over the next 4 weeks, I really want you guys to be thinking of something using the new moon energy and our positive intentions over the next 4 weeks of what do you want to create? And how do you see your state of being after you've created it? And I told everybody in class to personally instant message me throughout the week with their personal private creation, their manifestation that they were choosing to create. And all through the week, I got, people's individual dreams and goals, the thing that they wish they could manifest. And then what I noticed after the week is those same people, and not all of them, but several of them, would IM me back and say, I've changed my mind, I want this. Or this just popped up and I want this now. And this just changed my mind, now I want this. And I said, okay, great. So I actually sent out a worksheet. And the first worksheet was about an automatic writing process that I use every single time I'm going to manifest something, because there is a step before you move into imagination as if. There is a step that you really need to accept within yourselves before you go out and start trying to create. Because what you're going to notice as soon as you start to manifest something really, really important to you, all those shadows are going to start popping up. All of those ideas are going to pop up. All of your belief systems are going to show themselves to you. Because honestly, think about it. If you didn't have any negative belief systems in the way of your manifestation, you would already own it. If you already had a belief deep down within you that you were the thing that you desired, there would be nothing that could ever keep it from you. So the first step, the automatic process step, and I urge you all to do this out there, is to sit down and write down what it is that you are desiring, what it is that you want to create for yourself. And then right under that, in a place of being fully grounded in your body, after 10 deep belly breaths, with blue pen in hand, I want you to write down how it has served you to not have what you've wanted. Now, this is really, really big, because if you do not have what you want, if you do not own the thing that you are desiring, if you are not living the life that you believe that you want, then there is something deep within you that is keeping that away from you for two reasons. Either it is protecting you from something, or you are in a belief that you do not deserve something, and therefore, if you do not deserve something, you are going to subconsciously keep things away from yourself. And so as we do this automatic writing, what comes up is the shadow, is the blind spot. And it's a beautiful first step, because you can see, as a deliberate creator of your reality, it has only always been you that has kept your dreams and your hopes and your intentions away from manifesting into your day-to-day life. It is only you that's kept that state of being away. And what I've noticed from the class is that this first step kind of blew everyone away. Some of the class resisted doing it. Some of the class did it right away, and I got a ton of feedback about how they had no idea that by maybe keeping money away from them, they were protecting themselves from not being integrity or not having the right friends with the right intentions, and they were in protection of themselves, because you know what? Underneath, your body loves you. Underneath, you love yourself. And if you have a belief that in getting what you want is going to somehow harm your life or your commitments or your obligations or your family, you will keep that away from yourself. So the first step to accelerate your life is to totally surrender to the idea of how it is actually serving you to not have what you want. Take a breath, because this is a big one. This is the pre-game of manifestation, because every book you're going to read is going to say set the intention. Set the intention, visualize, imagine as if, blah, 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 blah. But what if where does the shadow fit into this process? You know, I mean, we're quantum light coaches over here at Transcendence, and what that means is that we are here to turn on the light. And when you turn on the light, that's when you see your dirty closet. That's when you see your cluttered garage. That's when you see the spider webs. And it isn't until we turn on the lights that we even know what we have to work with. Because if we cannot get where we want, we are somehow keeping that from ourselves. So that is the first step in acceleration. And that is one that I urge you maybe to listen to this podcast again at this particular time slot and work through this process as many times as you can. And if you do it through an automatic writing process, which means you're not judging what comes up, you're not trying to fit in what comes up, you're not trying to logic this process, you will have a great release. Because as soon as you make what is dark light, it clears. The charge clears from your shadow. So it's not necessarily even like having to do a bunch of time travel on the process or do a bunch of clearing on the process of what comes up. You're just now looking directly at your own shadow of why you've kept things away from yourself. And that is really, really empowering. So the second step is to be all in. And to be all in means stop being wishy-washy on what it is that you want. You know, it is there. Stop judging yourself basically on what it is you want. You want everything. You're a child of God. You are God. God wants it all. It won't be satisfied until it has actually everything that it's ever desired, and only because, not to obtain material possessions, but to expand its own knowing and remind its own being that it is the creator of its own reality. So it isn't about obtaining lots of cars and houses and friendships and relationships and money, but it is about overcoming the belief systems of why you cannot have them and creating them anyway. Because that not only expands your belief system, it expands collective consciousness belief systems, that we can create anything we desire, even if we have the craziest limitations from the past. So we are here to create in spite of our limitations, and we are here to teach ourselves and remind ourselves that we can have and be anything that we choose. And so you're never going to stop desiring until you move into a total state of enlightenment. So your desire is your engine of manifestation. It is the thing that you need not feel guilty for. It is the thing that is going to be the driving force of your love and creative abilities. And so it's time to be all in. It's time to be all in. If you want the house, stop being wishy-washy about the house. Stop saying, well, you know what, there's a lot of people who don't have houses. I shouldn't want a house. I have this great apartment. Why shouldn't I just be happy with what I have? You know what? That's not how a God spark thinks. A God spark thinks, let me manifest this house, and then let me show 5 or 10 people how to manifest their own homes. That would be how a deliberate creator of your reality would think. So it's all about changing your perspective about who it is you are and what it is you want, and stop feeling guilty for the things that you want and start being all in 100%. That means all in 100%. What would that look like? That would mean that you have to take personal responsibility for your desires. That means that your behavior has to match your mission statement. So let me ask you this. What is the mission statement of your life right now? What is it that if I asked you what you were doing on the planet right now, what would it be? In 2 to 3 sentences. And then I would ask you how much of that mission statement you are actually living day to day. How much of your behavior is matching your mission statement? And a good idea is to write a mission statement. And it can be just private. I like to keep a lot of my manifestations that I'm working with internally private until I feel like the seed has germinated and I'm ready to share that. And if you've listened to my past podcasts, I explain why. But one of the things you can do is you can write your life's mission statement. And you can read it to yourself every single morning when you wake up. And the reason why I love this process is because when you read it every morning, you're telling your body who you are instead of your body telling you who you've been. And that's really important, because when you wake up after a night of being completely disconnected from your virtual reality, and you come back in, you dive back into a cellular body who is remembering who you have been. And that can be sometimes, that can set in fatigue right there. Because here you are, just pure positive power and intention and possibilities, going back into your, virtual reality suit that is pre-programmed of all you have been. So by reading your mission statement in the morning, it is about you telling deliberately your body and your own, logical mind who you are. Okay, so that's another step to super accelerate your life. The next one is constantly be in vibrational check with yourself, which means ask yourself several times a day, where is my vibration? Where is my mind? What am I thinking about? Am I feeling good? Am I feeling triggered? Am I feeling bad? Just the observation of being aware of where your personal frequency and vibration is can totally help you stay on track, because if you are there in the background to monitor your mind and body, then you can at any moment check in and manually adjust. You can go do a brain tap session. You can go do meditation. You can go get some fresh air. You can do 10 deep belly breaths. You can, go eat something to stabilize your blood sugar. You can call a good friend. You can listen to a podcast. You can have your checklist of go-to quick high vibrational cheat codes so that'll get you out of your own funk. It is your responsibility to get you out of your own funk. It is your responsibility to be constantly checking in with your own personal vibration and seeing how you can create a vibrational, steady energy that will create positive manifestations. So that is your responsibility. And another thing that I do constantly is I don't have necessarily a spiritual teacher that I check in with and listen to the words that they say about the universe. My spiritual teacher is the virtual reality that I have created, which means when I look around my particular reality, I look at my life, okay? I look at the state of my body. I look at the state of my home, my car, my friends, my family, the world, the animals around me, the way people were treating me on the highway. And that is my virtual check-in because I've created all of this. So if anything is wonky or out of alignment, that is a great opportunity for me to check in with my blind spot and say, you know what, today, everywhere I went, people were really rude to me. I can check in, and that is today's my spiritual teacher. And I can say to myself, where am I being rude to myself? Where am I being out of alignment to me? Where am I not taking care of myself? Where am I not self-nurturing? And I can say thank you to all those people who acted as my blind spot in my mirror, and I can go within and I can really alter that vibration and I can get back in alignment because circumstances are very intoxicating. They can feel very real. The people who snap at you, they feel very real. And that mirror projection can feel like it is totally outside of you, but I promise you it is not. Anyone who is rude to you is reflecting something back that you feel about yourself. And everyone is your teacher. Everything is your teacher. Every butterfly that crosses your path. I had 2 crickets in my bathroom last night, and they were giant. And they were just chilling in my sink. And I thought, okay, this is unusual because 2 is my number. 2 is always my go-to number. And there were 2 of them. And looked like they were having a party in my sink. So instead of, getting all freaked out, and I just picked them up, put them outside, and then looked it up in the book about what the spirit animal for a cricket was. And it ended up being about alchemy. It ended up being transitioning darkness into light. And I thought that was really, really appropriate because of what I had been working on the last couple of weeks. So my crickets in my sink were my spiritual teachers last night. And if we realize that our entire universe is 100% divinely synchronistic 24 hours a day, then we can never lose track and we can never lose faith because it's a moment by moment marker of something in our path that is helping us know more of ourselves. And so that's a great idea for you guys to be able to check in with your reality, and instead of getting triggered by what's happening outside of you, write it down. And my group we do a couple of different journals because it helps us stay in the present moment. It helps us stay focused because, life happens so quick that you might forget about certain things that occur during the day. And we have a manifestation journal that we use, and that is manifesting everything and anything. That doesn't mean manifesting a check in the mail. That means manifesting 2 crickets in your sink, manifesting a phone call out of nowhere, manifesting a bill in the mail, manifesting a car crash. And then what we can do is we can sit down with ourselves at the end of the day and look at what and who and how we've created. And we can make an adjustment. We can make a shift in, okay, so my vibration is a little off here. I'm starting to manifest things that feel like stops, or I'm manifesting great things today. Well done. And we can make adjustments to our vibrational frequency and begin again with no shame and guilt of being unconscious. So another thing that we can do too is as we start setting intentions and working towards manifestation, we always want to continue to plant seeds, because what happens is the logical mind gets very fixated on something and it becomes obsessive about something, which in business and in manifestation is a good thing, but as long as it doesn't have an expectation attached to it, because an expectation will actually dismantle your manifestation, because expectation is not you. What you're desiring is expansion. What you're desiring is freedom. What you're desiring is love. The symbol of what all of those things looks like is usually an ego choice. So if you're really wanting freedom, you're going to desire money. And you're going to think, okay, money feels like freedom to me. So you're going to be manifesting, working towards creating money. But what the soul really desired was freedom. And so if you fixate on a dollar amount and you disallow your mind to have anything other than that, I promise you'll probably be disappointed, because expectations is the thief of joy. It will strip you of feeling empowered as far as a manifester. Your job is to say, I want to create freedom. Freedom looks like money. It looks like time. It looks like paying off my bills. It looks like having a safe space to live. It looks like relationships where I can be totally authentic. It looks like love and passion. It looks like art. It feels like music. And that right there will start pulsing out to the universe real intentions. Now, if you say, okay, I want $100,000 by next Wednesday, and I am just going to focus on this for the next 7 days, and I am not going to take my attention off of it, which means all the shadows that are popping up in the way of why you don't think you can have $100,000 will be ignored, and you won't get the money. And you'll probably end up feeling very defeated, scared, afraid, lost, and alone. So the process of how we do this is more of finding the symbol of what it is that you want and finding the root underneath of why you want it. So if you want money, it's usually because you really, really want freedom. You want safety. You want security. You want to create. You want to be able to be of service. You want to be generous. You want to show love. And so these are all the things that money would symbolize. So it's a better idea for you to really start fixating on freedom, and then to acknowledge right then and there where you are already free. And what that does is it lets the universe know that you're not in lack, that you would just like more of what you already have. So if you're free, right, say, well, right now, money is going to create freedom, but these are the areas where I already am free. I am free to go to bed when I want to go to bed. I am free to read what books I want to read. I am free to talk to these two good friends openly about spirituality. I am free to go to my job or not go to my job. I am free to eat the foods that I choose to eat. So you can already see that you are free, because if you keep telling the universe that you need money because you're not free, the universe is going to keep giving you non-freedom, because the universe is too literal. The universe does not read between the lines of victim energy. It is either receiving as you already are free and you would like to expand on that, or you aren't free and you need to contract on that. So the universe is extremely literal. So it's a good idea to just continue to plant seeds of finding the root behind the idea and the symbol and the carrot that you choose to have, and then really, really, really focus on expanding that. So it's like you're taking 2 steps forward and the universe is taking 2 steps forward. And so it's like, okay, I'm trying to create freedom. So I'm going to keep planting the seeds of creating more ways that I can become free, which means you have to start behaving in the areas where you do have freedom. You need to take advantage of those areas. You need to start having gratitude for where you are already free. And as you move through that freedom, then money is one of the things that will help you become more free. You will absolutely get it. So I hope this is making sense. And that's what we mean about planting seeds. It's this, even though you're working on something, like I'm working on 5 different projects right now that I want to manifest, but that's not going to stop me from continuing to plant seeds, because it's all in alignment with expansion. My entire manifestation over 2016 was to expand. And so that's what I'm working on, instead of making the expansion be about a business or a car or a person or anything like that. The next one is to embrace your desires. Believe in your deserving. And anywhere you feel that you do not deserve something is where I would sit down and I would really do some shadow work. I would really sit with a coach. We've got some great coaches here at Transcendence that have graduated underneath me, and they are ready to help you work through all of your deepest shadows. And because this deserving piece is actually when I teach 5D money. I teach a class called 5D Money in TICA. And I go through in-depth differences of what 3D money looks like and 5D money looks like. And the only real difference between 3D money and 5D money is when you attract money in 5D, it's because you deserve it. And when you attract money in 3D, it's because it's coming from a place of power. And so it's a very different frequency. And so your deserving is everything. How you believe about yourself, whether or not you deserve something, is going to make or break your manifestations. And so if you have a shadow underneath somewhere where you say, I really want $100,000, and you've got a shadow somewhere hidden in your blind spot of, 10 times where you were unethical with money, or you have shame and guilt around money, or you have parents who say that people who have money are bad people, that is actually going to stop you from having and creating the money that is already within you, because you are money. You are the abundance. You're just keeping it away from you because there's a belief being the lie, where it states that you don't deserve. So working on that deserving piece is going to be huge for you. The next one, number 5, is my favorite. It's learning to live in non-physical reality. Learning to live in non-physical imagination, potential, possibilities, probabilities. That's why I teach quantum mechanics. That's why I teach quantum light coaching, because quantum means all, and all is potential, meaning that there's the potential for everything in the entire world that you've ever dreamed of to manifest instantly if you would get out of your own way. So when you learn to live in potential and when you learn to live in imagination, what happens is everything is a probability instead of finite rules and boxes and limitations. And this is where life gets really fun. Now, this is also where life can be very childlike. And this is also where you have to get really real with yourself and stop being so concrete in who you believe you've been and let go of certain aspects of who you've been so that you can expand into who you are. So number 6, we found the symbolism of our desire and we've practiced achieving the feeling, right? So if I want money and I know that freedom is what money is symbolizing for that, then I actually need to go and become freedom. I need to become the vibration of freedom. I need to be that state. So I need to do as many things that are freeing during the day, because the universe listens to your desires 3 ways. It's listening to everything you want from the thoughts you think, the words you say, and your behavior. So if your thoughts and your behavior and your language is out of alignment, you're not going to get the clear frequency match that you want. You're going to have a mixed manifestation bag. You're going to have highs and lows, bittersweet. You're not going to get what it is you want because you have not become the state of being of freedom. And this is a personal story, because freedom is my theme. I mean, I am literally on this planet to become free, teach freedom, align with freedom, share freedom, and I am freedom. That is the state of being that I choose to work on for the rest of this incarnation. And in becoming free, I really had to go in and look deep, deep within my shadows about places and aspects where I was not allowing my own freedom. And where I was holding on to old paradigms of obligations and relationships. And so I've actually moved out of a very important relationship in my life over the last couple of months. And this is someone who is literally the love of my life. And by moving out of that relationship into expansion, what I realized is that I couldn't be totally free in that relationship. I couldn't be totally transparent. I could be authentic, but I could not be transparent, because transparency is also about owning your mission. And my mission is expansion. And in that particular relationship, I could not expand. I could not become the version of myself that I know that I am, because I was in a co-creative, committed relationship where we were both on different paths emotionally. And so in me taking my power back in my own life, I have moved out of that particular relationship in that particular forum, which means that it's not in a living situation anymore, but it's still a co-creation. And so that's something personally that I have really been afraid of, being afraid to let go of. Because walking away from a really good person and a really good life for more of who you are is not only scary, it looks ludicrous from the outside in. So, but I have done nothing but expand as soon as I made that choice, and expanded in 100 different ways that I didn't even know was possible as soon as I made that choice. And so sometimes how we expand is by letting go. And that's what I mean about behavior, because it's not wanting. And I say this in class a lot. Wanting and being are two different frequencies. We've wanted our whole lives. But when you actually get what it is that you ask for, that's where you have to start becoming. And a lot of people are just more comfortable in the desiring, because when they actually get what they've asked for, sometimes it's too overwhelming. They don't feel like they deserve it. So they will sabotage themselves away from really living the life that they could through huge levels of expansion, because they're afraid. And so it's all about looking at the thoughts you have about who you want to be, the words that you speak, and your behavior. Because you will see where you are out of alignment with your own desires just based on your own actions throughout the day. So that's another way to super accelerate your life, is to be hyper aware of those three aspects, and to also know exactly what it is you're desiring and why it is, and what it is symbolizing for you. Okay, so as we find the symbolism for the desires, we've got to learn to trust in the excitement. And I know that you've heard every single teacher say this, that excitement is the way. Excitement is your truth. Excitement is the thread. But I can tell you, honestly, that any time you live moment to by moment by moment by moment in the next most exciting thing you can imagine, you will create such a fast shortcut for yourself, and you will move so quickly out of your old life into your desired dream life that your head would spin. The thing is we have been taught and programmed for our whole lives that following excitement and joy is irresponsible. And so we don't allow ourselves, and maybe it's because we don't deserve it. Maybe it's because we know that if our highest joy was to leave someone behind, and then we would have to feel bad for that. And so that is something that you will have to work on in your blind spot. But the truth of it is excitement is your fast forward button. Joy is your fast forward button. You know, when we were deciding to buy this big estate, it was something that was bigger than any of us had ever done before individually. And when we put our offer in, it took a long time to hear back from the other party that was selling. And we had done everything we needed to do. We had built the energy. We had cleared the shadows behind not being able to have it. We had really done a bunch of shadow work. We'd really moved into deserving. And now it was that lovely period of time that we all loathe, and it's the waiting period. And I know personally that if you're waiting, there's a glitch in your vibration, because you should never ever wait. And if you've listened to my Accelerated Manifestation podcast, I'll say that the fastest way to manifest is to dive into service and go play. So what we did was, there was no one really to service at the time, and so we decided that while we were waiting for the offer, instead of going back to work and working on developing new systems and all these things that we really should have been doing, like logically, we just decided to go play. We decided to go spend time at the pool and play with our kids and take a road trip and do all of these things. And while we were doing all of these things, the universe was closing the deals behind the veil. And because what we were doing is we were keeping our vibration and our frequency in excitement. And excitement is the thread of ecstasy and joy. And we got the call, and there was already a couple of offers on the table, and they went ahead and accepted ours. And so we were extremely joyful and celebrated. Matter of fact, 2 days before we got the offer accepted, we had the celebration dinner, and actually cheers to our glasses to we move in on this date. And I mean, we were already acting as if, and we were already planning, and it was perfect. So it's really about closing the gap, and the closing of the gap is always excitement. Even though that feels the most irresponsible, it is the way to accelerate all of your joy and manifestation in life. All right, so the next one is to take stock. Take stock of what you've already created. You know, take stock of how amazing your life is today versus how it was last year. Take stock of the amazing relationships that you have right now, the money that you do have, the opportunity that you do have, the roof over your head that you do have, all of these things. And it's about really finding gratitude for what you have been able to create. And now, of course, you know now after listening to this that you can readjust your desires at any moment and shift into a different reality. But it's also about really honoring the creations that you have already created and lovingly accepting the good and the bad of where you are conscious and where you are unconscious. And that will really help you accelerate. You know, one thing that Susie and I always talk about is that we don't have a plan B. You know, we open transcendence, and it's evolved in 10 different directions, and we never expected it to be what it is now 2 years ago. It's totally organically shifted and changed into things that we could have never imagined. But we never had a plan B, which means that we never said, okay, we're going to open transcendence, but if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go back to my corporate job, and you're going to go back here. And we just never gave ourselves the opportunity to back out. And because when you do that, what you're saying is that I'm afraid. And courage is all about 5D. You got to learn to walk through the fire of what it is you really want so that you can live the life you want. I love that quote where it says, everything that you want is behind fear. And it's so true, because everything that I'm teaching right now is to be courageous in who you know you can become, and just move through the energy, because you will be so divinely happy with what you get. It might not look exactly like the picture your ego has created, but it will be bigger than you've ever imagined. And all it's requiring is courage. Courage to pull the trigger. Courage to quit the job. Courage to leave the relationship. Courage to do all of these things that are no longer serving you, that are stopping you from really, really, really expanding. Okay? So that is something that's really big, is to again, be all in and focus your personal responsibility and be hyper focused on your blind spots. Challenge your reality to show you where you're vibrating. Tune into your vibration. Make alterations all throughout the day. Have your vibrational backups ready. You know, set your alarm on your phone every hour to do some deep belly breathing and ground in your body. Have your favorite playlists going so that you can move into a higher frequency when you're doing mundane 3D things. Focus on the gratitude of what you've already had. Feel unlimited in the areas where you can really expand right now. Find the freedom that already exists. Use the money you already have. Utilize the relationships that you've built to expand into knowing yourself more. Speak all things in confidence, which means, you know, if you find a character that you want to become, you've got to match the vibration moment by moment by moment in order for the universe to alter your reality so that it can fit your new character. And that means that you may need to change a whole bunch of things about the outer side of you, which means, how do you dress? How do you behave? How do you speak to other people? You know, where are your triggers? Where are you taking responsibility for your triggers? If there's someone that continues to trigger you in your life, why are you still allowing that relationship? What is it that you believe about yourself that is keeping that person in your life? Is it because you don't believe that you deserve to have good relationships? These are all things that, if you notice, every single one of these items that I've gone over today have nothing really to do from anyone else in your life. And anything that has projected outside of you is a mere reflection of what's going on underneath the inside, the subconscious and unconscious, because the subconscious will make itself known in the reflection of its reality. And the unconscious parts of you will be reflected in your dream state and in your body. So that is a perfect way for you to manage your vibration. How does my body feel? One of the things that we ask ourselves when we're laying down to do time travel is we say, where do I feel that in my body? And notice where your energy goes. Notice where there's certain parts of your body that feel stuck and blocked from the inside out. And all you have to do is open your heart and send loving energy to those places of your body and start flowing life force energy to those components and chakras that have been shut down because of trauma and because of disassociation. And so this is the magic of accelerating your life. And I just want to thank you guys all for tuning back in with me. I know it's been a while since I podcasted, and I've got, a list of podcasts that I need to do. My next one that I'll be doing is called Self-Abandonment. And it's all about the relationship between the subconscious and unconscious, and where we have become disassociated with aspects of ourselves, and how we can put ourselves back together with grace and ease to really become whole. So thank you guys for joining me today. And I love your feedback. We have our new website up and rolling. If you go to www.transcendencekc.com, you can find our online academy, TICA, information there. We have a new store up, and we have several new graduate coaches that have worked directly under me for months and months and months and months to be trained in quantum light coaching, which is basically accelerated shadow work, and all very powerful manifestors, all amazing, amazing coaches. And so please check us out. And if you're interested in any classes or opportunities here at Transcendence, please reach out to transcendencekc@gmail.com. Or you can reach me personally at jessalstrom@gmail.com. And we will make sure that we answer all of your questions and get back to you. And we do have a Facebook page, so check us out there as well. And we are just Transcendence Wellness Center there. And we look forward to seeing and hearing from you all soon. Have an amazing day and keep doing what
Thank you for joining Jessica on this transcending episode. Email us directly at jessicaalstrom@gmail.com with your questions and personal challenges you would like addressed on the show. And join us on next week's podcast. You are not alone, and remember, your higher self speaks to you through people, places, circumstances, and events.